Hey Stampers, it's Judy Klock here coming to you today for a quick little lesson at lunch. So this past weekend, I had the great privilege of attending OnStage in Pittsburgh. We had a great time. It's been 3 years since we've been able to have an in-person event, and I can't tell you how fantastic it was to be there and to feed off the energy of 400 other avid crafters and just the ideas you get, the swaps you exchange. It was just an incredible experience, and I was so thankful that I was able to go. But while I was there, I saw Sara demonstrate a technique using white crafting. Now, if you've been around my social media for a while, you know I'm really not a fan of crafting. It's very thick. I have never really gotten it to give me a nice, good stamp. I would prefer to use white embossing powder. But when I saw Sara demonstrate this technique, I had that light bulb moment and I thought, wow, this is a use for crafting that I can get behind. So what she did was she used the crafting to create a background. So we have a piece of our shimmery white paper. This is 4 by 5 1/4. You can make it any size you want. And I'm going to lay down, I have a silicone mat here. So you definitely need a silicone mat to do this technique. So I'm going to lay down a couple of blobs of our white crafting. Like I said, this was the first time that I thought I really have a good use for this. There we go. Okay, so now I've got a nice pile of white crafting. Now I wanted to kind of keep it in the Christmas theme, so I'm using 3 colors. I have garden green, shaded spruce, and evening evergreen. So I'm going to add a little dab of ink to each one of those little dots of our white crafting. Okay, not a lot. One little drop of the ink will do nicely. Oh, now I got tons of ink on my fingers. Okay. All right, so bear with me 1 second while I try to clean off my fingers from all the ink. So I'm going in order of evening evergreen, shaded spruce, and garden green. I'm trying to go lightest to darkest. So I'm just going to I have just one of my little weeding tools here from my Cricut, and I'm just going to kind of mix these up. So I want to get that ink mixed in with that white crafting. Okay. You can always add more if you feel like that's too not green enough, which I think I might add just another little dab, because I did put a pretty big blob of white crafting down. Okay, there we go. This is definitely a messy technique, as you can see. All right, so I've got my evening evergreen there. I'm going to come in here with my sponge daubers. Okay, got one. I'm going to just scoop up some of this ink. Get that out of the way for now. And I'm just going to run it back and forth over my paper, over my white shimmery paper. Okay. All right. That's our first one. Let's do the same thing with our shaded spruce. Again, we'll just kind of mix that up. Get that all nicely done. Okay, just start. You can use toothpicks. You can use, whatever kind of tool you have. I just happen to have these down here. I'm going to take another dauber, pick up that ink, and I'm going to go do another line. Now the the white craft ink really does kind of change the shading of the green. It makes it much lighter. Okay, and then we've got the last one here with our garden green. Let's mix that up. Okay. Again, I think that might be a little too light, so let me add another little blob of garden green. Oh my goodness, my bottles are all so messy now. It's okay. We will clean this all up after we're done. And we've got our last one here, garden green. Let's mix that up. And then we're going to come in with one more final dauber. Now, no 2 cards will ever be the same using this technique. because you're going to have different amounts of white craft ink. You're going to have different amounts of the inks that, whatever inks you're going to mix in there, you're going to have all different amounts. So it's, my sister's trying to call me right in the middle of taping, and that was not good. Okay. So there we have our background. So I'm just going to let this dry. It's going to take a little bit of time to dry. So I'm going to put this aside, but let me show you. Let me fold this up so I don't get that ink on anything until I have a chance to clean my mat. Let me show you a couple that I've made, a couple of cards that I've made using these backgrounds. Just get this ink off my hands. So here's the first one. This was done using the same shades. I used the Evening Evergreen, the Shaded Spruce, and the Garden Green. And again, I just did the same thing. Now these are still wet, so they might be a little bit lighter, and they might dry a little bit darker. But you can see there, that's kind of the same color palette. And then I took reds. I did our Real Red. I did Sweet Sorbet, and I did Poppy Parade. And the addition of the white craft ink really makes these look more pink for sure. But I still thought we could do a Christmas card. So I've just used the Handmade Wishes bundle. We stamped a little tag there, and we used some Sweet Sorbet ribbon. So it's sort of a non-traditional colored Christmas card, but something that you could do really quickly. And I got a little bit of green up there. Oh no. All right, so that's it for this edition of Lesson at Lunch. I hope you like this technique. I hope you like the use of the white craft ink. Like I said, I'm really not a fan of the white craft ink, but this is a use that I can get behind for making some backgrounds and lightening up some of our ink colors. All right, everybody, that's it. Have a great week. I'll see you Thursday at 7:30 when I go live on my Stampin' with Crafty Klock Facebook page and my Crafty Klock YouTube channel. Bye.